be live at 7:30. So you're going to be live now. Just giving you a heads up.
Very good. Ready to begin, everyone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. This is a regular meeting of the Montclair Zoning Board of Adjustment. Notice has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by publishing a copy of the notice in the Star Ledger and the Montclair Times, and also posting a copy on the township website. Roll call. It's Wednesday, April 15th, 2020. Roll call. Okay. Mr. Harrison?
Here.
Mr. Fleischer?
Here.
Mr. Church?
Here.
Mr. McCullough is excused this evening. Mr. Moore? Mr. Allen? I believe Mr. Allen is here this evening. Mr. Simon?
Here.
Ms. Harris? Harris? Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, you're by phone too?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Caulfield is excused this evening. And Ms. Gilmer?
Here.
She's here. And Mr. Sullivan?
Here.
Okay, very good. So moving over to the agenda this evening. First up this evening, we have the approval of, well, before we begin, I just wanted to welcome everybody to a remote meeting format and just note one additional adjustment that we've made as we kind of accommodate this remote meeting format. At the top of the agendas page for the Zoning Board of Adjustment, we've added this note just reminding folks that due to the public health situation, all meetings will be held remotely. And we've created a dedicated page called Remote Meetings. So at the top of the agenda page, if you click Remote Meetings, it takes you to a new web page that we've set up that talks all about remote meetings of land use boards and commissions. We've kind of explained the process, connection information. If at any time anyone has any questions about zoning board meetings in particular, my contact information is here, provided my email and phone. If anybody has any issues connecting to the meetings, just certainly reach out and we can assist as best we can given the situation. So I just wanted to, give that information. We have lots of information about how to connect, information on connecting to the meetings, how we're receiving documents, conducting the hearing, participating by phone and TV as well. Okay, so I just wanted to give that little bit of an announcement that we're, accommodating as best we can given the situation.
Somebody's got feedback. Somebody's got a lot of feedback.
Let me just go through and mute some other folks so we make sure that we're limiting any feedback opportunities. Okay. That should be a little bit better right now. Okay. So switching back over to the agenda. First up on the agenda, we have the approval of the minutes of the February 5th and February 19th meetings. So I can pull the minutes up, share on the screen, and let me unmute the board members. So if there are any comments from board members, please let me know, or any adjustments to the minutes.
Okay, Graham, I have a couple changes to the February 5th meeting on page 2, line 2. At the end, you have the and evenings running together as one word.
Okay.
And then on line 15, you have what I think is a vertical drain system, though I'm not sure what that is either, but I don't know what vertical is. And then on page 3, line 16, it should be as, very first word. And I don't have any other changes to those minutes. Does anyone else have any changes?
Yes, I do. On page 2, actually, line 9, I assume that's questions from the Republic, not from the Republic. Okay. On page 39, on page 4, line 39. It's either no sport team use of the fields or no sport teams uses. But not sport team uses. And one other change I'd like to make on page 6, line 7. There was an external step, but the problem was not the external step. The problem was the internal stairs. I'd like to change step to stairs.
Which line was that?
Line 7.
Line
Line
7.
7. Internal step. I see. Stair.
It should be
Okay.
internal
Stairs.
stairs.
Yep, I've made that change.
Okay.
Does someone want to move approval of those minutes with those changes?
I'll move approval. Joe Fleischer will move approval of that meeting with the changes as corrected.
I second.
Okay. Graham, you want to call the roll of the eligible voters?
Yes, I will. Okay. Okay, so on the minutes, Mr. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Fleischer,
Yes.
Mr. Church, Mr. Church,
He's muted. Maybe that's the problem.
oh, maybe he is. Hang on. Yep. Mr. Church,
Yes.
there he is. Okay. Mr. McCullough is not here this evening. Mr. Moore is not eligible. Mr. Allen is not here this evening. Mr. Simon?
Yes.
And Ms. Harris?
Yeah.
Okay. And Ms. Gilmer, you weren't eligible because you were not yet with us. Okay, so now moving over to the minutes of the
February 19th.
February 19th meeting.
I do not have any changes. Does anyone else have any changes?
No. Hey.
No other changes to the minutes?
Okay, someone want to move approval of the February 19th minutes?
I'll move. Approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Hey, Graham, you want to call the roll of the eligible voters?
Certainly. Okay. Okay, Mr. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Mr. Allen is not here this evening. Mr. Caulfield is not here this evening, and Ms. Gilmer.
Yes.
Okay, next we have the resolutions.
First is the resolution for the Carlo property at 344 Highland Avenue. On page 2, number 7, the second line is an extra P and replace. All the changes I have to that. Anyone else with any changes to that resolution?
No.
Okay, someone want to move approval?
I'll move the approval of the resolution.
Is there a second? Graham, am I the only other eligible voter on this?
Ms. Gilmer is the only other eligible,
Okay.
besides you.
Now you want to, can you second it?
Yes, I second.
And then it's just the 3 of you that are eligible, so.
Okay. Well, you want to go through it just so?
Yeah. Mr. Harrison,
Yes.
Ms. Gilmer,
Yes.
Mr. Church.
Yes.
Okay.
Then we have the resolution of the Weiseneck property on Greenview Way. I don't have any changes to that resolution. Does anyone else have any changes?
Graham, who's eligible to vote on that?
Same 3. Mr. Harrison, Mr. Church, and Ms. Gilmer.
No
Someone,
changes.
someone want to move that resolution?
I'll move the resolution.
And I will second.
Okay. Graham, you want to call the roll?
Sure. Mr. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Ms. Gilmer.
Yes.
Okay. And we have the resolution for the Lager-Messino property on Brookfield Road. I have a couple of changes. Graham, in the first line, you have the wrong applicant.
Oh, okay, yes. Yeah, I've corrected, yeah, I did correct that.
Okay, and then in number 4, on the first page, should be Brookfield Road, not Greenview.
Yes.
Okay, anyone else with any other changes to that resolution?
No.
No.
Okay,
Judge.
Jay and Chanel, it's up to you to move and second it.
I'll move the resolution. On
Then I second.
Okay,
Graham, you want to
Mr.
call the roll?
I'll call the roll. Mr. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Ms. Gilmer.
Yes.
And we have the Sackman resolution for property at 97 Central Avenue. On page 2, the now therefore, at the end of the second line after accessory structure location, but in the front yard. I don't have any other changes to that resolution. Anyone else with any changes?
No changes.
No change.
Okay. One of you want to move and the other second that resolution?
I'll move the resolution.
And I'll second it.
Graham, you want to call the roll?
Sure, Mr. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Church,
Yes.
Ms. Gilmer.
Yes.
Okay. Then we have the annual report. I'll do the simple ones first. On page 1, the second paragraph on the right-hand column, you have the word 10 and then the number 11. I think 10 is the correct number.
Okay.
And then skip. Okay, then you have, and I'm thoroughly puzzled by this, you have 8 and then 6, couple paragraphs down. And then I'm confused what these are and why the reference to NJAC.
NJAC.
I mean, I assume
This here?
Yes.
let's correct the number first,
Sure.
which I think 8 is the correct.
Yes, 8 is the correct, yes.
And I'm not sure why you're citing the administrative code versus the municipal land use law.
Were those
The one was in a P,
IS exceptions?
oh, I see, the NJAC. Yeah, that's weird. I can look into that and I'll figure out why that.
I think
Yeah, I
those
assume
are
by definition, they had to be in association with the D variances. Okay, so you'll figure out what you were intending to do there. Okay, and then let me defer to, I mean, I think Joe has some changes on the recommendations, and let him go first.
Okay, I want, before I do that, on page 0, the cover sheet, Mr. Church is not listed.
Oh, no, that's true.
Ah,
Yeah, I noticed it.
The other thing I don't understand on page 1 is after this whole controversy of 10 versus 11, when you look down below, the numbers that indicate the number of variances only add up to 8. So maybe one has nothing to do with the other, but if there's some something that doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
So if it's 10, I would assume that would be 10. Or if it would, again, maybe because the others were not approved. I'm not sure what the answer is.
Mhm.
Um,
And just while we're there, that you have a second 11, and again, depending on what the numbers are, they should all match up.
right, all the numbers have to match up.
Mhm.
Then on page 2, item 7, there's at the front yard setback, whoops, I lost the view of page 2. That the application of the required minimum front yard, okay, no, I'm sorry, number 7.
7.
Front yard setback calculation modify to disregard adjacent principal structures or with regard to, but it can't be the way it is.
I think it's disregard.
But it should be modified to disregard.
It
Correct.
should say to disregard. That's what I was saying. And those are the only ones I had, Mr. Harrison.
Let me, working backwards, number 6, instead of established compliance, would establish greater, can't read my own writing, consistency with existing lots of record. I mean, because we're never going to achieve total compliance, but, you know, there are situations where it has none of the lots are conforming, or virtually none of them conform, and we want them to have a greater consistency.
Mhm.
Then number 3 is a carryover from last year, which I still want to include, but this may be, particularly since we're going to have at least some different members of the governing body, that be clear that the issue is they adopted a new land use and circulation elements of the master plan. Multiple recommendations are in that which planners frequently cite in testimony before us, but now the master plan was adopted several years ago, and we have no idea whether council intends to follow up on the recommendations. So I don't know. I guess I just want that last sentence reworded. So it says, for those recommendations that have not yet been acted on by the governing body, we request that the governing body indicate whether they plan to move forward with those recommendations or not. And anyone else with any changes to the annual report?
Can I just clarify the conclusion of that sentence? So for those recommendations that have not yet been acted upon by the governing body, we request that
The governing body state whether or not they intend to move forward on the remaining recommendations.
Okay.
Anyone else with any other changes to?
Yeah, there's it's Angela Harris. There are a couple of instances where 2018 is referenced. I'm not sure if they're supposed to on page 1 in the summary.
Here.
A list of applications decided in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And then paragraph 2 of the next column, 10 applications involving D variances, yes, were decided in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And then on page 3, at the top, says your 2018 annual report.
Mhm.
I think that's it.
Okay. Anyone else with any other changes to the annual report? Does someone want to move approval of the annual report?
And that's a motion to approve the resolution adopting the annual report for 2019.
Yes.
So moved with the corrections as noted.
Is there a
Second.
second? Oh,
Second.
okay. Graham, you want to call the roll?
Yep. Let me just pull that up. Okay, Mr. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. Fleischer,
Yes,
Mr. Church. Oh, did he mute? Sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Church, yes. Okay. Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Simon,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
and Ms. Gilmer.
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay.
Okay, Graham, you want to announce the applications that are being carried?
Yes, I will do that now. So shown on the screen again is the agenda. First up is application 2666 for property at 268 Bellevue Avenue, Highgate Hall. This application has been postponed from the March meeting to this meeting, and again will be carried and heard at the May 20th, 2020 meeting of the board. The applicant will be renoticing this application as this will be a remote meeting on May 20th. Application 2660 for property at 60 South Fullerton Avenue, the United Way of Northern New Jersey. This application will be carried to the May 6th, 2020 special meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustment. New notice will be published by the applicant. And then application 2661 for property at 201 Valley Road, the Montclair Kimberly Academy. The applicant has requested to postpone this matter and will renotice for when that hearing will be scheduled.
Graham, we have an extension of time on all of these applications?
Yes, we have. Mhm.
Now, just,
Graham?
Yes.
On the application for Montclair Kimberly Academy, when is that?
So this Mr. Church with the question. In response, the Montclair Kimberly Academy has not yet identified when they'll be ready to proceed. So that's kind of pending at this time for their final site plan approval. So they will notify, they will submit their updated materials, and then we'll get that scheduled. They will also complete renotice to advise the public and the neighbors about that application.
okay. Before we adjourn, Graham, I don't know if it's just me, but when we went live, my participant list shrank, so it's just me, you, and Angela.
I have one, yeah,
Which is not a problem tonight, but will definitely be a problem when we have public really participating.
Mhm.
So if you can work with the IT folks and figure out what happened, did that happen to everyone?
it happened to me. It just had me, Graham, and Angela.
Hi, it's David Owen. Do you have me?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you go over to the right-hand side, of all people, me pointing this out, if you go over to the right-hand side of that participant list, you'll see a gray bar, a vertical gray bar. And if you pull down on that gray bar, you will see the full 17 people participating. Does
That's
that help?
correct.
I think you may be in full screen mode.
We're not getting all the people even then.
Yeah.
Because on TV, it's the three people. But I know one time it went to
You
full
got
screen
it.
for me without me
You got
changing.
it, and that little screen.
And we've also got this problem with this grid that keeps laying over the exhibits. This gray crosshatch grid that I'm seeing.
I
showing
would agree.
three boxes.
I would agree with all those observations.
So, okay.
Okay.
And then just for board members, I mean, this is going to be a lot trickier when we proceed with the application, and you're going to have the attorney calling witnesses, asking questions of the witnesses. We're going to be asking questions. There are arguably maybe members of the public. So you're, be very sensitive in terms of when you're on mute and when you're not on mute, and, be on mute when you're opening the papers, same as with, with the mic at the meeting. So there's not a lot of background noise.
We were getting echoing from Jay's when he was talking.
Mm-hmm.
It was garbled and even some echo, and I'm not sure whether he has voice on both his screen and he's on a phone, and that could be causing that double sound.
Sure.
Garbling.
Yep. Yeah, and as I advised previously for all board members, I'm happy to work one-on-one individually with each of you. So just feel free to reach out and we can work through getting set up and have some test run meetings with each of you as you may need assistance. So we'll work through the other issues that were identified as well and have those corrected for our next meeting. So, and just to advise the board, we are at staff level scheduling coordination meetings with the applicants' team as well, just to get them prepared and ready to go. So as we move forward, we're gonna have a few growing pains, obviously, but we're hoping to smooth out the issues before we get to the May 6th meeting.
Yeah. So, and this seemed to have gone very well.
Okay. Very good.
Someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Joe Fleischer.
Is there a second?
Second, Angela Harris.
Okay. Michael, can we do this by a voice